Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You can
Oh,
hear me?
you've changed the location also. Not bad.
Yeah.
Now, over the years you've invested in financial markets. Isn't this the most talked about and the most awaited recession in the US economy? Everybody seems to be talking about it. Everybody knows it's coming and everyone has adjusted their portfolio accordingly.
Yeah, I think it is a very unusual situation. I'm one of those who believes that the recession is coming, but it's so heavily discounted that this will be a very interesting market reaction. Look, recessions happen whether we talk about it or not because of economic slowdown, but markets are a discounting mechanism. And so, yes, the recession, even though it's talked about, might still happen. The question is, will the markets behave the way that they have in past recessions? And that's the part that I'm most, kind of puzzled by, because it does feel like this is the most anticipated recession. And therefore, if and when the recession does come, will the markets behave the way they do normally when recessions come, which is usually not as well known, and sometimes even known much later than after the recession has started. So in that sense, I would distinguish between what I think is the Fed's desire. To be perfectly honest, the Fed wants a recession because they believe that to slow the economy, to increase unemployment is essential. All of those are essential to engineer a slowdown in inflation. And therefore, if the Fed wants a recession, even though they don't admit it, they will probably get it. But whether the markets will, markets expect that as soon as the recession is coming, the Fed is going to be cutting rates, and therefore the market may look through this recession faster than it does to any prior recession.
How important is the narrative around the debt ceiling? Do you think it is more like from a market standpoint, more like we are making a mole out of a mountain out of a mole?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of I think there's a Japanese kabuki dance, which is all, kind of make believe. And in a sense, the markets need to scare enough people in Washington for them to not go too far on this. My sense is that this will be an 11th hour reprieve. What they will do is probably, if they take till next week, there won't be enough time left to get it through both houses of Congress. Then they will give a few week extension while then they pass it and they extend the debt ceiling for a few weeks till they get this passed. So whatever way it happens, I think we can be almost certain that neither side wants this to go into even a technical default, even if they are able to manage it. So they will find a way around it. So I think this will be noise in the background in the near future.
Arvind, got to talk about India amidst all of this, whether a recession is going to happen, whether it's going to be mild, hard landing. How is India positioned?
I think India is, reasonably well positioned. Look, Indian economy is also seeing some, its inflation is coming. Inflation is no longer as big a problem as it was in India in the past. I think, growth has been a little bit mixed recently, but I think overall, India is one of the better positioned. China had its, brief moment in the sun from late last year through the first quarter, but it seems like that's faded. And I think, US, Europe are obviously facing a much more hawkish central bank trying to slow economies down. And therefore, when I look at India, India has, got decent growth, and it's one of the better markets in the world where growth is not at risk. And therefore, I think the Indian market, is consolidating here. Obviously, when there's global uncertainty, nobody, is flying high. But I think Indian market has, in the last few months, been a relative outperformer. And I think the rest of the year, we still feel good about putting money to work in India.
Appreciate your time, Arvind. Thanks so much for joining in and giving us a take as to what is expected when it comes to the US and, of course, those talks as the deadline of June 1st fast approaches.